Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. My name is Wayne Supernova, and in this episode, I'm recording this the same day that episode 30 went out, which you've been following along for this entire adventure so far. You'll know that episode 31 goes out tomorrow. I did not plan this out as well as I could have, so yeah, been pretty busy. This is Labor Day weekend in the United States, so we also have tomorrow off. But we are nearing the end of this investigation portion, and then we will have the trial, and hopefully I can get most of that done. Maybe finish the case. We'll see how much time I have right now. So let's get right into it. The Cursed Trial. Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed?
Oh no! Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it.
Oh, I see. It's really agitated him.
You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow?
Oh yes, I forgot Sholmes was with us. Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no! What do you mean? Please, tell me! Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words!
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever.
Oh my goodness! Can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly!
Was it really? I actually... 1, 2, 3... Holy shit, it was. Wow. Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilded.
What?
Ah, I am impressed, Miss Susato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zeeks killed the man himself? Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is.
Oh, of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Ooh. So we're learning a bit more here about Van Zeeks. Van Zeeks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception.
Oh, that's good.
Suzuki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. Yeah, he definitely has a way with words, does Sholmes. I wonder if he picked that up from Iris. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. I think it's more likely that Iris picked it up from him, but still. They play off of one another, I think. Can't wait to see them both in the same room. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury. Oh god, don't use the word means in an Ace Attorney case with me, you're gonna have flashbacks to Case 3 of Dual Destinies. God damn it! Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly is, from time to time, my dear madame, it is simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright? However, those indicted by Lord Van Zeeks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months, they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how?
By all manner of misfortunes, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage, perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown, perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen.
Oh, no.
All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, this is definitely the biggest mystery we've been faced with since arriving here in London, and probably the entire game.
I knew it. I'm a dead dodo, done for, doomed!
Wow. When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garredeb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed?
It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself.
That didn't take long then.
Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room. But even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away.
You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time.
I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road, a week ago now.
Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient.
The rent is cheap. I have so little money, so it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place."
Yes, well said.
But it was true. It was all true.
You mean the room really is cursed then?
Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits.
I feel like I'm starting to sound like like one of Aaron from Game Grumps' ridiculous voices, like he had for Macho Grubba in the 1,000-Year Door playthrough. They're like,
"Oh well, I should say no."
Oh God, that voice was so annoying, and I'm doing it again unknowingly with this poor Japanese man.
If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe me? Really no one at all?
To believe? Yes, to believe. Yeah, we really haven't believed in him quite yet. Ooh. Well, that's a foreboding prompt. Let's click it. Mr. Sholmes. Me, Mr. Naruhodo. Pray, what can I do? What can I do for you? I almost said, what can I do you for? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake? Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only thing I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang the circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. I am flubbing and misreading a lot right now.
Yes, he's right! He's right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
Whether or not I can believe in myself. Whether or not I can believe myself. Man. Oh god, I forgot your voice. I'm gonna continue forgetting your voice because they only have you pop up every 5 episodes or something like that in flashbacks because you're dead. Why do I have to remember your voice so much? God. I'm rambling again. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Alright. Thanks for those 2 lines, Asogi. You'll be gone again until next case, hopefully. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there is never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Hey! Nice music.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire!
As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial.
Something crucial?
What to believe in. The defendant? Justice? Or the truth? How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts.
Yes, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh. Oops. Both of their names start with S. I'm gonna use that as my excuse. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. I just went German there for some reason. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow.
As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue.
Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. God. Those two. Miss Usato.
Yes?
Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court?
Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant.
I love how Naruhodo asks permission for everything before he does it. It's not just like, okay, this is happening now. He actually takes others' feelings into consideration and asks permission from them before, you know, making plans. I definitely have trouble doing that. I like to assume that everything is going my way when it comes to other people, instead of, you know, actually asking and opening a dialogue about it. So yeah, props to you, Naruhodo. Props to you. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. And there's the to be continued. I'm surprised that's all the investigation we get to do. I'm really surprised. I feel like I didn't learn much of anything at all with that investigation. So, yeah. Now, it's on to the trial. And we got plenty of time here. Plenty of time left in this episode. So, let's see what's up today. Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon?
We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible.
Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as a research may seem a little crass. That's a good word for that.
Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right.
Good morning! Ah, Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. So you didn't sleep. Yes, I've heard that expression.
But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink.
Yeah, I expected that.
Now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result.
After being told the day before that every single person that the prosecutor of this case tries to prosecute ends up dead in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it feels like you've been sentenced with cancer. No, I don't think at this time that they really had much of a grasp on what cancer was. Do all literary people take things so literally? I think maybe, but that's a nice play on words.
Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
I'm gonna take another jaunt here to just talk about one little thing. The localization in this game has been out fucking standing so far, to be quite honest. There's plays on words, there's... It's like it's one thing to translate what the game reads from another language to this one. It's another layer to write it in the British vernacular that this game follows. That's a level above. And then, on top of all of that, they try and throw in puns and plays on words and callbacks and all kinds of other literary devices. It's outstanding. So props to you, Capcom, for your localization team on this one. In the past, they definitely had quite a few typos. I've only caught one this entire playthrough so far, so yeah, outstanding job. I also, of course, since this is a blind playthrough, I did not play the fan translation for Great Ace Attorney 1, so I don't know how that looks. I can't really compare the two, but this one from Capcom officially is crazy good.
I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble.
Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor.
I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Yes?
I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London.
Oh, neither did I. That is weird. Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato?
I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea.
So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? God. Characters are very good. Characters are very good.
Don't hide the truth from me. It's because of the Reaper, isn't it?
Lord Van Zeeks? Is that right, Miss Susato?
I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zeeks is on the front page of every one.
I knew it.
Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday.
Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? See, that's another thing that is very bizarre to me, is why he took that 5-year gap. That 5-year gap? Why he took that 5-year vacation. That's the word I'm looking for. Why is there a 5-year gap in between when he was branded the Reaper of the Bailey and now? And what is he trying to figure out because he returned? I don't think he's murdering these people, but someone is trying to frame him as it, and there's no evidence to go off of. It's so bizarre to me. Oh God, your voice. The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zeek's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Oh, what a harrowing experience that was.
I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's.
But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country.
Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers.
Mundane? Mundane? It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us.
Maybe he wanted to prosecute Magnus McGilded. He seemed very knowledgeable about McGilded's affairs. Blackmailing people and, being a notorious debt collector and scamming people out of their money with fraudulent loans. Just all these terrible things that he was doing, allegedly, based on Von Zeeks' testimony. Maybe he thought, if I can become the prosecutor of Magnus McGilded, the person who is taking out all of these people that I prosecute against, whoever it may be, will be forced to get rid of Magnus McGilded as well. And he kind of used the murderer and forced his hand to get rid of someone that he knew was evil. I'm not sure, but maybe that's possibly it.
Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it.
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention, but there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you!
Me? Well, I suppose that's true.
Both times, it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor.
But I doubt it's me that's the reason why he came back, especially considering that we didn't know that we were going to be the defense attorney for the case until right at the end, unless Strongheart has a hand in this somehow. I mean, Strongheart having a hand in this would make a lot of sense if he's working with Von Zeeks. I think that's a possibility to try and achieve a certain goal. But yeah, we definitely only have puzzle pieces at this point. We don't have them all.
It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper.
Well, that's definitely not it. Maybe they were expecting Asogi, and after we said that we wanted to carry on, because we did mention when we first met Strongheart that we really wanted to carry on Asogi's legacy and do what he came here to do. Maybe that meant that we were conscripted as part of the plan as soon as we said that, because he wasn't planning on giving us the ability to be a defense attorney over here once Asogi was murdered. But yeah. Huh. Yeah, all that stuff is starting to meld together a little bit, but we're still missing key pieces. Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers.
I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck.
Thanks for that.
Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive!
Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Speaking of the least lucky thing, we didn't know this, but McGilded really didn't need all that money that he was taking with him to his grave. So yeah, if we accepted his money, he would have been dead right afterwards, so it would have been kind of worthless anyway. Yes, it's true that I am just a student, new to London, with little in the way of experience or skills, or luck, but I promise you this. I will fight your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquires. I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live.
Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once.
Hope I don't have to do that voice very often, because it's destroying it. I only did it for about 3 lines there, and oh, God. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go.
Yes!
Started to sound like Paul Bearer there.
Oh, yes!
This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom, and my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. Outstanding. And we just crossed 30 minutes. I'm not gonna end it here, though. This is gonna be a longer episode. I'm gonna try and make these episodes a little bit longer.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
I like this guy's voice because it's all over the fucking place. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about... Oh, so they do talk. Oh, leads credence to my dumb theory. Yay! That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try and help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance.
Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description.
Susato-san.
After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent.
Very true, and a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted, and his unfortunate violent end. Yeah, of course that's gonna get the gallery to talk a bit.
Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? Because I'm not fucking ready to come up with 6 new voices for all of you dumb bitches.
What? You? Alright, well, I guess 5 new voices. You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Oh boy.
Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear.
That's not gonna be her voice. Jesus Christ.
Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow.
You?
I'm afraid to say that it's quite possible that mustached foreigner did the deed.
So I guess 4 new voices.
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did anyway. Sorry. Didn't quite catch that. Very well, let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zeeks.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Noseki Natsume. Chair, please? And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Ooh. Plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. Music cut out there too. A knife crime? I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they, huh?
Just look at the sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollow chalice here in this great chamber. Why do you apologize after you do something bad every single time? He just does something ludicrous, and then he apologizes right after if that's okay. It's like, if you're sorry about it, don't do it in the first place. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Ah, yes. Calling the detective first.
Your name and occupation? Occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green.
I beg your pardon, Inspector? Thought to be?
Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since.
What?
So they don't even know who she is for sure?
Comatose. I see. But her life is not in danger?
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map.
It took me a while, but I've found what his voice was.
As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please.
Alright, first piece of evidence. What of the weapon that was used? Well, let me check this real quick first, before we, Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, a meal for Gaboriau, I don't know how to pronounce that word, Canterbury Yearnings. Wow, only 2 shillings for $3? And that's the map. And then we got 2 pages here, okay. Olive grade female, stout build, early 20s, pavement of Briar Road on the east side. Rolly Beat? Reporting officer. Okay, so that name might come in handy. Victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. Oh, interesting. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer. So the officer, Rolly Beat, is one of the witnesses. Nice. Okay. So we learned something new. Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now.
With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman.
Even the scragged-looking Soseki-san, I suppose.
A common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence.
The jackknife has been entered into the court record.
Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pension, my lord. God, I cannot read tonight.
I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim?
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? I almost said poor young woman. There's no poor in there. What the... Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Oh boy. Testy today, are we? What the fuck? Why would you do that to the poor people in the gallery? What the fuck? Alright. We're gonna find out what the hell's wrong with this man when we come back. Jesus Christ. I'm done with this, man. See you guys next time. Please subscribe.